The Modern Day Casanova. Chapter 1. Let's Meet the Man. In the history of all mankind, there have been tales of those who have been legendary in the dating world. We have all heard the name of Casanova, the one ladies' man who all others are compared to. It has been said that he knew what to say to every lady he has been with. We have heard of Don Juan, whom was also legendary when it came to his conquests. Known to be a very smooth talker, he could convince a lady to join him in anything. Yet, there is one man that does not get mentioned, yet they are iconic in dating circles as one who stands out from all the others. This is his story. This is the story of Larry Laffer. Now, before I go into the story of Larry Laffer, I must say a few things. These must be said so that the only people truly worthy of learning about this individual are reading this. Besides, it's my obligation as an author and reader to do this to absolve myself of any troubles. First off, if you have not reached the point in your life known as puberty, stop listening to this right now. Hit back on whatever browser you're using, on whatever device you are using, or whatever website you came across it. This is not meant for you, for a reason that I will not go into right now. You are too young for this. As long as you get away from this and leave no signs that you heard any of it or saw it, life can continue on as normal. Or at least as near to normal as it can get. Second, if you are in those formidable teenage years, I will not be so full of myself to think you'd be swayed by a polite, "Stop listening to this right now." Depending on how old you are exactly, I would urge you to stop and maybe speak with someone older before listening to this. The contents of this story is more aimed at adults. I will not be so naive to think that it wasn't possible that my efforts stopped you. But if you decide to continue on, I won't urge you, but I'll sell you out in a second to your responsible guardian. You aren't throwing me under the bus. Now that we have taken care of that rather unpleasant business, we should be left with the rather mature listeners. Of course, given who the story is about, I'm sure we will keep a civil mind and remember that this individual was not known to be saintly. To be honest, he was more known to be awkward. He was the original 40-year-old virgin before that movie made it something of a big thing. He was, well, he was this typical, he was not just typical, he was the stereotypical loser, nerd. Now, I wish that wasn't the case, but for every stereotype, there is a person who not only lives it, but exemplifies it. That is how Larry started out. He was the peak of stereotypical nerddom. He worked as a computer programmer at a quaint little company. He lived at home with his mother, whom he knew adored him. Actually, she wished he would move out and start his own life like his sister had. Every night he read the same books to get to sleep. Now, eventually, the lifelong bachelor mainly due to his fear of asking out the fairer sex and of rejection, started to come to a conclusion. The conclusion was fueled by the occasional, well, let's just break it down to what's simple. Porn. That Larry would come across. I'm sure you know which ones I'm talking about. Those issues of National Geographic that featured the native women going around topless in states of undress. Sometimes, late at night, if one were to venture within listening distance of Larry's room, if one was more pathetic than Larry was, they would hear a meek, whiny nasal voice saying, "I'm horny as hell, and I'm not gonna take it anymore." Well, Larry took bold measures to change his life. He gathered up all his possessions and sold them all. He had gone to the local pawn shop, and due to the care he had given them for most of the years, he had gotten a bit lax by now. He sold them for a nice penny. He also sold his old beat-up car, which didn't earn him as much as his stuff had. Now, with that nice chunk of change, Larry's first step was to get the epitome of swinging single fashion. He got the one outfit he knew no lady could ignore. The outfit that John Travolta rocked the world in. The polyester leisure suit. Larry never considered that the movie he saw that outfit in was set over a decade earlier. He parted with some of his money and took to wearing the mystical leisure suit. Now, his outfit wasn't the only thing way out of date. Larry still believed that disco was in, and the king and queen of music was Barry Manilow and Aretha Franklin. His dating mindset was also in the 70s. But that wasn't going to stop him. He wasn't going to miss the sexual revolution, even though he was clueless to what the term actually meant. Just because he was book smart didn't mean he was common sense smart. Larry was finally ready. He hailed a taxi, and he had one destination in mind. He got in the cab, ready to pay for his ride to the legendary hotspot for debauchery, Las Vegas. He figured if any place could guarantee his true elevation into manhood, it would be there. It would be there where he would fully transform into the world's most legendary ladies' man. To be honest, he had no clue what he was getting into. He had no experience picking up women. He had no experience with the special breed of people that lurk in those centers of sin and debauchery. He was going in there a 40-year-old sucker. He would need all the help he could get. And to be honest, all those who could help him were sick and tired of him. Just to prove how little help he would have, his mother, the second he left, closed a secret deal to sell the house and had moved out. She was actually going to live closer to her daughter. A rumor was that Mrs. Laffer was going to be a grandmother in a year's time, and that the Lovage family would need her help. Mrs. Laffer just hoped her grandchild would be nothing like her son.